It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the to the show that we're doing right now.
Following the local teams, breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interviews.
There's going to be much higher expectations, sense of awareness of what we bring to the table.
Join the show by calling into 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press.
Rose, ends up, yes! Caught! Touchdown! They did it!
Howdy, everyone. How we doing on a Monday? Full Court Press, Jason Walker with you here. Eric Frandsen, he'll be along shortly. I'm sure he's got tied up with something. But starting out the show, plenty to go over Monday. Plenty of stuff to go over here on, I guess we used to call this Reaction Monday. Still some things we can react to. You have the NBA playoffs, the conference finals of, I don't know, they've kind of been boring. At least in terms of, back and forth series drama. If you're just following the drama of people melting down on social media or just complaining that it's not going to be a Lakers-Celtics NBA Finals, or at least one or the other. Since as it's playing out, we've got 2 3-0 series, the Nuggets up on the Lakers 3-0, and then the Heat up on the Celtics 3-0. It's not gone very well for the big markets, and then we have, obviously Denver looking like they're just going to roll, though we'll see how the Miami Heat do, since the Heat have also been rolling. They've made it look easy so far. But we've also got the lacrosse playoffs. We also have a softball champion that comes from Cache Valley. The baseball playoffs also wrapped up, but there weren't any Region 11 teams involved in that. But we do have a champion from Region 11 in softball, in an exciting series that took place Friday, Saturday. So, it was a matchup between 2 Region 11 teams. So we'll get into that. As I said, lacrosse playoffs happening, the semifinals and championship game taking place this week. And in a bit of an interesting situation regarding graduations, and how they're balancing the fact that there are playoff lacrosse games being played on the same day within hours of graduation times for some of these high schools. How will the UHSAA handle that? They do have a protocol. We'll get into that. We know some people have been concerned about how it's going to be handled. We'll certainly go over that a little bit. And then Utah State football, just more recruiting news. They're probably getting pretty close to finalizing their roster, at least most of their roster. I don't have a full breakdown of, how many spots they have left. I've not done a very good job keeping track of that. I know that I currently have 117 players on my own Excel spreadsheet that says this is how many players are on the roster. And give or take any oversights I may have on either not adding somebody who should be there or taking somebody off who shouldn't be there. But we're probably getting pretty close. 117 names seems pretty close. They're only supposed to have 85 scholarship players or something like that. So a lot of players coming in. Speaking of a lot of players coming in, Eric Frandsen.
I'm a lot of players?
I don't know. I didn't know where to go with that.
I am coming into the room. Yes, that's true.
That's part of why it works. It worked better than the other introductions I've given. But yeah, we've just been going over, kind of skimming over some of the topics we have today. NBA playoffs, softball championship this past weekend, lacrosse, what they're doing with graduations happening this week, along with lacrosse games. Haven't gone over specifically. Then obviously some new football recruits, and I posted a poll on Twitter because I was curious what people thought. And if you guys want to go vote in that poll, it's basically, and we'll talk about this later, because we thought, Danny Sprinkle we sung his praises with how he managed to basically replace all of his production. Not a single player who scored a point for Utah State returned. He's had to build an entire new team. Basically, everyone who played minutes was gone. And, we felt he did a really good job in bringing in guys we feel can have a good season next year. Blake Anderson, he lost at least most of his defense and a decent amount of his offense. Has he done as good of a job as Danny Sprinkle did? Now that Anderson's really starting to reel in recruits, we've had a lot over the last week or so. Has he done as good a job as Danny Sprinkle? So we'll go over some of the results of that poll and give our own thoughts on that. But just kind of we'll start with softball. We have a new champion in 4A softball, and it comes from Region 11. Had a 3-game series, an exciting one there.
Yeah, we knew the championship would bring a championship trophy to Region 11. We just didn't know if it was going to be housed in Millville or in Garland. And both the Ridgeline and Bear River softball teams had really solid seasons this year, and just really, really good play overall. And we weren't sure how the late start to the spring would affect some of these sports. Didn't seem to affect soccer too much. Did see it catch up to the baseball. It was an all-region 10 championship for baseball. But for softball, man, hand it to Ridgeline and Bear River for very solid seasons, and then making their way to the playoffs. And as we talked about it Friday, setting up the matchup, both teams dominant in their first games, close games in their second, and then dominant again in their third game in bracket play, which set up an interesting championship series between Ridgeline and Bear River at BYU. And Ridgeline got the first game. It was a close one, about as close as you'd want. We talked about that on Friday. It's hard to get any closer than that, 3-2 finish. But on Saturday, Bear River given a chance to try to even the series or win it, or Ridgeline try to close it out. The Bears just took over. 8-4 in the first game, and then 12-3 in the final.
Yeah, and in that third game, they jumped out on them early. 8-4, that's not a colossal margin. It's a pretty comfortable margin. But yeah, then you just about run rule a team in the clinching game, and sometimes that's just how it is. And that's kind of why you play a 3-game series, because sometimes the bats are just on fire, and for Bear River, the bats came on fire at the perfect time. You scored 2 runs in the first game and then 20 in the next 2. It's like, okay, we're going to increase our run percentage tenfold in the next 2 games.
Yeah, insane.
So great job by Bear River to close that one. Now, come back from the 1-0 deficit. That's a huge amount of pressure in that game, too, where any mistake and you're done. And then, obviously, to follow it up, not get too high on that game 2 win and just keep the momentum going. And I don't know, maybe Ridgeline ran out of pitching. I don't know. For how good they were, I'd be surprised if they ran out of pitching. But with how long these tournaments are, sometimes that can just happen.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe your pitcher just has a bad day. Who knows? But congratulations to Bear River there.
Yeah, so the Bears getting to celebrate another state championship. They've got a proud tradition with their softball program. They've produced a lot of great players over the years, and again, another championship season for them. Ridgeline coming in as runners-up to the state title. Nothing to be ashamed of, but the very exciting week last week. With we did have some exciting games for both baseball and softball. Pretty exciting tournament. In the end, though, Bear River, the one team from this area, hoisting a national championship, state championship,
world champion, Bear River Bears, everybody.
Of the universe. Yes, but now it's the attention has shifted to lacrosse. Boys and girls lacrosse is underway, and it was a busy Saturday with both boys and girls lacrosse teams playing their games. We had a couple of double headers at some of the venues, and there were some upsets along the way. the top seeded teams, top 1 and 2 teams from both the boys and the girls, they advanced in pretty healthy fashion. But after that, there were a series of upsets on the day. It was bad to be the 4th seeded team for both the boys and the girls, because the 5 seed won in both instances. We had an upset, Green Canyon over number 3, a 6th seeded Green Canyon over number 3 Juan Diego in the boys lacrosse, and we also had Waterford beating Skyview, a 5 seed over the 4 seed for the girls. Other than that, everything went chalk for the girls, but we had 2 upsets on the boys' side. So this is where it gets interesting now. Those games were played on Saturday, and the playoff series, it will continue this week. The girls will continue on Tuesday, boys on Wednesday, and looking at these games and these schedules, and then also realizing we've got high school graduation taking place this week.
Yeah, there's just for all the teams, and some of these teams that are playing for Region 11, or I don't know if it's Region 11 in lacrosse, it gets complicated, but these Cache Valley schools, some of them have semifinal games on the day of their graduation. There's some, I think, for boys lacrosse, Green Canyon and Ridgeline, their game is at 3 o'clock. Ridgeline's graduation is at 1 o'clock, and Green Canyon's is at 6 o'clock. So it's a bit of a time crunch there, and it's down in Westminster is where the game is being played. But, of course, UHSAA, they've dealt with this kind of situation before with some of these sports that go really late. And so they kind of already have a strategy in play that they're going to implement for this one. Yeah,
so I know there have been some parents who have reached out to the radio station or some of our radio stations here in the building expressing concern because they see this now, and it's starting to become more of a realization as they look closer at the schedule and realizing, oh, well, I'm going to have to choose, or maybe they don't have to choose, but I'm going to have to go if I want to support my kid in lacrosse. He's not going to be able, or she's not going to be able to get a graduation ceremony with their peers in the Spectrum. And so that's got some of them kind of upset, and I understand that. But as you mentioned, Jason, UHSAA has been through this before. So I reached out to them today. I reached out to some officials at Utah High School Activities Association and said, and just asked, what do you do in this situation? Can you move the times? Can you move the venue? Can you move the day? And they just point blank said, no, we can't move the times or the days. We're set. But what we're going to do this week, like we have done in the past when situations like this have arisen, is we're going to do a special on-field ceremony at the game. So for Mountain Crest, those graduating seniors on the Mountain Crest girls lacrosse team, they will have a special graduation ceremony operated and run by the UHSAA. It'll be an intimate setting, not big pomp and circumstance, with all their friends and their peers, maybe some extra family members. But they'll have family members with them there at Westminster College, but it'll be done by UHSAA. It'll be kind of short and sweet. But so that'll be on Tuesday for the girls, and on Wednesday, Ridgeline and Green Canyon will do a special ceremony on the field for those graduating seniors.
Yeah, it'll certainly be unique for them. You only get, I don't know how many seniors are on each of these team, anywhere from 4 to 10 maybe. And yeah, it'll certainly be interesting for them. It won't be the same as, being in the Spectrum and walking around and having a giant crowd there, but maybe some might prefer that, to be honest.
At the same time, maybe it's worth I don't have to sit through a bunch of boring speeches. I can do my own thing. It's short and sweet. Just the people that I want to be around the most, my teammates, my family, and we can do something special here that is very unique. They'll remember that for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, I don't remember my
very
graduation.
Unique graduation for them. So that's how it's going to play out. Got confirmation on that this afternoon. Spoke to some UHSAA officials about that. And they're going to do the best that they can to still make it special for those graduating seniors on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah, so it should be good, and then after that they get to start actually playing some lacrosse, and we'll see if there's a pretty good chance that Cache Valley brings back both the boys and girls lacrosse championship trophies, largely because of the strength, and we've talked about this before, of Bear River and Skyview, Bear River and girls, Skyview and boys, where it's like.
Yeah, and their opening games were about as you would have expected. That they're on par, on brand for how they've played this season. The Skyview boys beat Mountain Crest 21-8. The Bear River girls beat Logan 21-0. Just continuing to dominate in their play. They are the top teams and continue to play like the top teams. So on Tuesday, the girls' playoffs will resume. Number 1 Skyview, number 1 Bear River for the girls will take on Waterford. That's going to be at 1:00, and then at 3 it'll be number 2 Mountain Crest versus number 3 Juan Diego.
Yeah, so a decent chance of getting the all Region 11, all Cache Valley matchup there in the championship game if the 1 and the 2 seeds carry the day. Not necessarily guaranteed, but certainly possible. Although boys, that seems a little more likely because you got 3 out of the 4 teams participating in the semifinal coming from Cache Valley.
Yes.
Because, you got the number 1 taking on number 5, and Skyview against Judge Memorial, Ridgeline, Green Canyon. So you're guaranteed to have a team in the championship from around here.
That's true.
And then assuming Skyview takes care of business, you could end up with the 4A championship guaranteed to come back.
Yeah, but Waterford, let me give them credit for the girls. They came up to Skyview. Skyview was the higher seeded team, the better record, and put it to the Bobcats, 15-5. So couple of games on Tuesday for the girls and for the boys. Skyview, Judge Memorial, they'll play at 1:00. Ridgeline, Green Canyon, they'll play at 3. All the games being played down at Westminster College in Salt Lake City. And then the finals for the girls will be on the 25th at Zions Bank Stadium. That'll be at 5:30. And for the boys, it'll be on the 26th, also at 5:30, also at Zions Bank Stadium.
Yeah, you could go play on the turf down there, and that field needs to be replaced soon because it's getting rough. I think all the different – they play so many different games on that field that I think that field just takes a beating. It's really hard. Maybe they do that like every other offseason or something like that.
It's the venue for all the soccer playoffs that are going on. It's also being used for lacrosse.
I think they do rugby as well.
Yeah, it is a home rugby field.
So they just do so much. It was like, I used to, when I went to Davis High, and it's like they have the football field, but so many different things use the football field. Use it for, obviously, the football team, and there's like a marching band competition and other things. Funny thing is, the soccer team didn't even actually use the football field. They had to go somewhere else, probably because they would have murdered the football field. Like, by the end of the football season, it was usually a muddy mess.
Oh, I bet.
And that's kind of where Zion's big. It's not muddy because it's not actual grass, but it's the amount of times they have to remove the lines from that field to paint new ones on there.
Oh, man. That'd be a nightmare for the local athletic director.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll start talking about Utah State football, the job that Blake Anderson's been doing in recruiting. Has he done enough? Has he kind of re-inspired confidence? Danny Sprinkle came in, and there's like this depth of despair in the basketball program. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be terrible. Nobody's even on the team. All kind of down in the dumps. And then he really revitalized fan hope. Has Blake Anderson done the same? We'll get to that here next on 106.9 The Fan.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. We have some surprising but awesome news to announce. Purple, the rocket ship in the mattress industry, has purchased IntelliBed, the best mattress in the industry. We could not be more excited. The beds have yet to arrive, but we flew out with Purple, and seriously, this new IntelliBed Purple lineup It is immaculate. We have the whole purple lineup and the IntelliBed purple lineup. Isn't it time to sleep exceptionally? Only at My Mattress, now partnered with IntelliBed Purple.
Advanced Fireplace and Stove wants to thank you for voting them 2 years running the gold medal winners in the Best of Northern Utah contest. With over 35 display models in their showroom, their goal is to make the process of making your home comfortable and cozy an easy experience. With premier brands like Heat and Glow, Quadrifire, and Vermont Castings, they have something for every style, every home, every budget. Building or renovating, they've got you covered. Advanced Fireplace and Stove, where comfort is their business.
Copiers, printers, service, and supplies are just the beginning. Les Olson IT is the premier source for your business's structured cabling, IT, software, telephones, and security systems. We partner with you to find the ideal solution to all of your office technology needs. Tell us your goals and we'll get you there. Find out more at lesolson.com.
Les Olson IT.
A diamond is forever and is perfect to represent your love. For those special occasions, give her a natural, one-of-a-kind diamond as unique as she is. Our exclusive brand, Neat and Brilliant Diamonds, is both beautiful and affordable with quarter-carat diamonds starting at $499. We have hundreds of sparkling diamonds at our integrity price guarantee with financing available. An investment for generations to come, Monday through Saturday 10 to 7, where Utah gets engaged. S.E. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block at the sign of the clock.
Imagine your wedding day. Elegant, simple, yet stunning, stress-free. It's your day. It's all about you. Whether you're looking for small and simple or have a grander idea, the Riverwoods Conference Center will accommodate your every need. Choose the inside ballroom elegance or outside along the natural decor of the beautiful Logan River. A Riverwoods event planner will work personally with you to make sure your event is exactly how you've envisioned it. The Riverwoods Conference Center, where your happily ever after begins. Google Riverwoods Conference Center or call 750-5151.
Spring is here, which means more driving and future vacations. Make sure you don't forget your car as you move about your busy life. This is Dustin with Valvoline Instant Oil Change in Logan. More driving means more wear and tear for your vehicle. Come in to Valvoline Instant Oil Change to get it serviced. We'll have you in and out quickly, making sure your ride is ready for whatever life brings you. Valvoline Instant Oil Change, 695 North Main in Logan, across from Angie's.
The Aggies are #1 here. The Full Court Press. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and online at 1069thefan.com.
.106.9 FM, 1390 AM, Full Court Press. Jason Walker, Eric Frandsen with you here. Glad to have you on board on a Monday. If you want to text into the show, 435-339-0321, especially on this next topic. Really want to get input back, and I put this out on Twitter because I was curious. Okay, what's been the kind of the fan reaction to the work that Blake Anderson has done on recruiting. He lost a lot. Danny Sprinkle also lost a lot. So I'm kind of comparing them like, okay, we really liked what Danny Sprinkle did. We both were kind of singing his praises, felt like he's done a good job. Bartum's some guys that we can be confident will contribute and do well with this team and, have a hopefully at least successful season. Blake Anderson, he's been, bringing in a lot of recruits recently, really replenishing that defense. A lot of guys in the defensive line, in the secondary. Bartum's some linebackers. They brought in like 3 recruits over the weekend and today. It was I think a defensive lineman, linebacker, and defensive back. So he's brought in a lot of guys. This team is probably mostly complete. As I was saying kind of at the beginning, I don't have an exact count of scholarships left. I don't have that kind of knowledge. I do have an estimated total of 117 players currently on the team, which would include walk-ons. There's probably a margin of error of about 2 on that, so you're probably looking somewhere between 115 and 120 players on the roster. That's mostly full, so we're not going to see too much more added to this team. So this is largely the team we're looking at. And so as you've seen the players coming in and seeing the replacements to the names we knew, the guys that are replacing Daniel Grishik and Byron Vaughns and AJ Vong Pachong and Johnny Carter and all these guys, and even the guys who graduated, Hunter Reynolds and the like. How do you feel like Blake Anderson is done in what was a very unideal situation for him? And so I kind of put this question out to Twitter. I said, just asked, has Blake Anderson done as good a job replacing a transfer-ridden roster that Danny Sprinkle did? And so I had the three options: equal job by both, Danny Sprinkle did a better job, or even if you think Blake Anderson did a better job. So, I don't know, did you see the results of the poll? I know you retweeted it.
Yes, I voted and then I retweeted it. Okay. So I can see the results after I voted.
So I'm
I've noticed there's been a few other votes that have been cast since I've cast my vote.
Yeah, I know it was I think 5 or 6 votes since I looked at it last after you retweeted it. So I guess I don't know. Let me hear your answer, and I think I'll give mine, and then we'll reveal the results of the poll.
I know jury is still out is not an option to choose.
I deliberately didn't,
and that would be a cop out.
You don't get to choose that
because that would probably be the one I would vote on. But I cast my vote for Coach Danny Sprinkle. And maybe it's my justification there is just this is a new coach coming in, and he's just trying to fill his roster, and there's justifiable turnover because there's a change in the coaching staff. Makes sense that sometimes that will occur, and so he's trying to fill his roster, and based on the talent that he's brought in, looks pretty exciting. I guess why I don't feel as confident for Blake Anderson is that these were all guys that were on he was there before. He had opportunity to coach them and keep them, and he lost them. And he's trying to replace them. And there are some players that are interesting that have filled some of these spots, but I know less about them. So I seem to know more about the basketball players joining Danny Sprinkle's squad than I do the football players joining Blake Anderson's squad. So that's why I cast my vote for Sprinkle.
Okay, so I ended up, I didn't get to vote in this poll, but I guess it's my own poll. They don't allow me to do that. But I have the same answer, really, is that I think Danny Sprinkle did a better job. And I think for a lot of the same reasons as you said. I don't, when answering this question, I'm not penalizing Anderson for maybe being the reason. I don't know if he's the reason, but being on hand, having the guys leave under his watch. I didn't really penalize him for that. I'm mostly just isolating it to how do they do in replacing. Obviously, it's not Danny Sprinkle's fault.
Yeah.
So I think it's fairly close, but I think what you were saying there at the end is probably the number one reason why I lean towards Sprinkle, is that Danny Sprinkle brought in proven guys. A lot of them were at levels you might consider below the Mountain West, and that's where there are some potential questions. Where, Darius Brown and Great Osbar, they both were winning awards, but they were in the Big Sky. Nigel Burris, also in the Big Sky. Josh Uduje, playing at Coastal Carolina. I forgot what conference they play in, but it's the American? I don't know. It's not the Mountain West, and it's not at the same level as the Mountain West.
It's definitely a step down, yeah.
So a lot of these guys are having to take a step up, but they are proven. Guys who can score double-digit points, guys who can get rebounds, guys, they are proven guys who can come in and play well. And he's bringing in some junior college guys, some Division II guys, but they're guys who have, that legit potential. But yeah, the core of his team looks like they're going to be Division I players with a proven track record, at least at some degree, at the Division I level. And on with Blake Anderson, I do like a lot of these guys, and I'm becoming a little more optimistic about this team. But yeah, they're guys that I know next to nothing about, because when I look at them, I should look up how many snaps all the Division I players, all the Division I transfers have played combined. Combined, every Division I transfer may not have played more than 200 snaps.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the rub. The basketball transfers, these are guys that have seen time on the court, even if they're teams had varying degrees of success that they were a part of, they at least saw quality time. And with football, it still feels like these are some guys who just are in the development phase and haven't had an opportunity on the field to the same degree. And so there's just that's not necessarily shouldn't be a knock against them. It's just we just don't know that much about them.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm hesitant.
Yeah, so I looked up just to get the numbers. I actually way underestimated, but largely because there's 8 Division I transfers that I've put on my tracker. One of them, Blaine Spires, played a little under 400 snaps, and then Simeon Harris from Colorado, he played 322. The rest of the 6, they probably haven't played more than 200-ish snaps between them. The next closest being like 77, and that was Colby Bowman. So yeah. If there's a thing that really makes me say Blake Anderson's recruiting job is behind Danny Sprinkle, it's that he hasn't brought in proven players as much. The thing where I do want to kind of equate both of them is that they have both put themselves into position to have good seasons by bringing in players that have potential. There's one thing that I really praise Danny Sprinkle for is that while I'm not going to go soaring optimist the way some people have with the basketball team, I acknowledge he's set himself up that if he can get that team put together and overcome the challenges of having an entirely new team, basically, then he has a chance to have a good season. Blake Anderson has done the exact same. He has brought in guys who have talent, size, speed, athleticism. They don't have cohesion. Neither does the basketball team. If he's able to overcome that and get these guys to buy in, he struggled to do that last year. The team didn't buy in until like 4 weeks into the season. And then they did well after that. And he got the 2021 team to buy in from day one.
Yeah.
So can he do what he did in 2021, get the team to buy in, say, look, I brought you in from all over the U.S., from Connecticut to California. Buy in, you saw what I did in 2021, and we're going to do that. If he can do that, this is a team that can. On 9-5, it took them a few days. So, yeah, I think 8 wins, and we were both like, oh, no way. But that potential is on the table if Blake Anderson does a really good coaching job. I'm not going to predict that. I'm still going to stick with 5-6 wins until I maybe see different, maybe in fall practice and whatnot. But the thing that Blake Anderson has done that I should praise him for in this is that he has given himself a chance here.
Yeah, and that's a great point. And I think that he is he's doing what he can to try to not just fill a roster just because he's got scholarships to hand out. Like, you're on the corner of the street on Halloween night and you've got the bucket sitting on the front porch, like come and grab one. But he's trying to be selective too. Like he's trying to find the right guys, trying to find guys that will fit his program. And he's made that very clear. The attitude, culture, it's very important to him that he gets the right type of character players to be a part of his program. And all I can do is take him for his word that that's what he's still doing because that's what he's proven so far. That's what his track record is. And so I have to see them in practice. I have to see how they look on the field because there's just not that much tape on a lot of these guys. So that's why it's a little bit tricky. But, there was a pretty sizable amount of people in your poll who said they've done a pretty good job equally.
Yeah, so the poll results to tell you, the majority did go with you and I. We are on the majority. We're 63.6%. We're at about 100 votes, so about, 67 voters? Or 64 voters, just about. 63% said that Danny Sprinkle has done a better job. But yeah, you get about a third of the voters thought that they did pretty much an equal job. Then you throw on like the 5 people who said that Anderson did a better job, and you're looking at, a little over a third who are, very happy at least, unless they didn't like the job Danny Sprinkle did. Maybe that's a hidden amount of people, those who just don't think Danny Sprinkle did a good job. But, more than a third of responders in this poll showed a very optimistic outlook. There's some hidden noise. Maybe they think both of them did a really good job, but Danny Sprinkle just did slightly better. This is kind of an adversarial poll in that sense. But still overall, I think the response at this point now is a growing level of optimism, or at least potential, and that's the key, is that we're looking at potential. And I think to build off a point you were kind of making with, the philosophy of Blake Anderson's recruiting, another big point of that, and this is something that he talked about during, around signing day press conferences and whatnot. He's like, look, when you get transfers, I want to get guys that have multiple years to come and learn with us. He doesn't necessarily like going and tracking down a bunch of one-and-dones. Because, yeah, those guys are proven. They might be 3-year starters out of, whatever school, but they get 1 year. They come in, and that's all you get. And there's been some successful one-and-dones here. There's been some wide receivers who have done that and some guys at other positions. But Blake Anderson, while he is willing to dip into that well, he'd prefer to bring in guys that have more years. And you look at the transfers he's brought in, even the Division I guys, like JUCO guys, of course they're going to have 2-3 years left. But every single Division I transfer, so as far as I can tell, has at least 2 years, and at least half of them have at least 3 years. Some of them 4 to play at Utah State. They may have used up their redshirt season, but they're going to be here for a few years.
Right, and I think that speaks to what he's trying to accomplish. He's still trying to develop a program. He's not just trying to chase quick wins to improve his resume and move on.
Yeah, and he's not trying to save his seat, because maybe it's getting a little hot. And he's like, I gotta get another great season in, and just desperately flailing for every grad transfer out there. He's still forward looking. So look, I'm going to build a program here, and we're going to have these guys and bring in these high 3-star recruits who may have gone somewhere else, but now they're here, and we're going to make them into great players in an Aggie uniform.
Right, and there's still a healthy number of high school players who we haven't even seen yet, who will arrive on campus this summer and be a part of this program when they start getting into their fall camp.
All right, so if you guys want to text into this conversation, 435-339-0321. We're going to take another quick break. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit of the NBA, see what's going on there. We haven't been able to talk as much about the NBA playoffs because college news keeps dominating the headlines around here. We'll talk about how those conference series are going and just overall how the NBA playoffs feel. And if you're one of the people who's worried about NBA ratings in the finals. We'll have that next here on the Full Court Press.
This is Jay with Daryl's Appliance. May is the best month of the year. Why? May is Maytag month at Daryl's Appliance, and it's our anniversary. We've been in business 53 years. Maytag is known as the industry leader, and now you get a $200 prepaid card by mail when you buy 3 Maytag major appliances. Mix and match kitchen or laundry Maytag appliances. Plus, get Daryl's famous service you can trust. Only at Daryl's West on Airport Road. Open until 6 p.m. on weekdays, 5 on Saturday.
As a small business, achieving your financial goals and ambitions can be a steep and rocky mountain to climb. This is Brett Green, president of Cache Valley Bank. To conquer this mountain and achieve your goals, it takes planning, hard work, and discipline. At Cache Valley Bank, we have the resources, expertise, and flexibility to help you scale your way to success. Give us a call. Let's work together and climb the mountains that await. Cache Valley Bank, member FDIC.
No matter what the conditions, DD Auto and Salvage can get your vehicle up and off your property. Now is the time to plan to make extra cash by calling DD Auto and Salvage and moving that old vehicle. Let them pay you for that junk vehicle. DD Auto and Salvage makes it so easy to get rid of your junker vehicles, paying you the most money possible. If you have metal, DD Auto and Salvage in Logan wants to pay you today. Call 787-1204.
That's 787-1204 today.
See store for details.
JM Mechanical knows spring is sure to make its appearance someday, and when it does, how soon we'll forget 800 inches of snow and the 90-plus degree days will take over. JM Mechanical knows how to deal with the extreme temperatures of northern Utah. They know how to fix, tune up, or replace every type of heating or air conditioning brand. Fast 24-hour heating service is available in Box Elder, Cache, and Franklin County with a 100% satisfaction guarantee and upfront pricing. Call JM Mechanical at 563-6267. That's 563-6267.
This is Two Pros and a Cup of Joe.
We're getting back into it. Ja Morant, he has been suspended. He flashed a hand cannon again.
He's just immature. I just don't understand why it's so important for a kid that never grew up that way to continue to bring that type of attention his way.
Two Pros Pros, LeVar Arrington, Brady Quinn, and a cup of Joe, Jonas Knox.
Weekday mornings from 4 to 7 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
This is Nate Lamson with Valley Office Systems, your home team when local matters. Valley Office Systems is your local provider for all things office, copiers, printers, furniture, and document management. Proudly serving Cache Valley since 2007. Visit valleyofficesystems.com.
Dear John, uncontrolled high blood pressure is serious, and I can quit whenever I want. But when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
To get your high blood pressure to a healthy range, visit heart.org/blood pressure. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Welcome back, Full Court Press. Jason Walker, Eric Frandsen. Did you spot the mistake? As I said, whenever I run the board, there's always at least one mistake. I forgot to play the rejoin liner before the bump music.
It's okay. We'll let it slide.
Notice.
We'll let it pass.
Eric didn't notice. I had to tell him I did that.
I noticed.
He just went and put it. Oh, did you? Did you?
I was looking at it.
Oh,
I was waiting for you to play it on top of the music.
I just saw you put your headphones on. I was like, I was looking at something on the computer.
It's all good.
Anyway, so talking.
I was just gonna say, you don't have to be part of the Twitter to voice your opinion on Jason's question. You can do so on the Full Court Press text line, 435-339-0321. Who's doing a better job replenishing their roster with all the transfers? Blake Anderson, Danny Sprinkle?
Which one?
Or equal job by both?
Or have they both done a horrible job?
Or neither have done a very good job.
Because that's the thing. There's a bit of nuance to these questions that I couldn't quite capture in the poll without there being like 37 different options, and I think it maxes out at 4. So, there's that kind of basic, do you think they've both done a good job? Do you think one's done a better job? I think we both thought Danny Sprinkle did a better job, but that Blake Anderson certainly is putting himself in a position that there's a lot of work to do, but as I said before, the key with the recruiting in both of these situations is give yourself a chance. Give yourself some talent, some versatility, and the option, at least to be able to swing for the fences. Now, if you give these guys a roster, it's basically like saying, all right, I need you to hit a double, but you can only bunt. At least these guys can actually swing.
Yeah.
And at least do something. They may miss horribly. These guys they're bringing in may all be flops. But at least at this point, we can look at the rosters and say, hey, you know what? There's some potential on this roster. If the coaches do their job, if the players buy in, if they work hard, they have the chance to do something at least, above average, if not even special, with these upcoming seasons. And as a fan, with this kind of environment, with what's going on in college sports, that's about as good as you can do.
It's going to be an exciting 2023-24 season, just with all these different changes, new faces, new looks. So it's going to be very exciting to see how it all comes together and how the product appears on the field or on the court.
So, yeah, switching gears to the playoffs. We teased that right before the break. NBA playoffs, conference finals. We haven't been able to talk a ton about the playoffs, but we've seen a lot happen. These have been some pretty exciting playoffs. You see, had the whole drama with the Grizzlies, the 76ers, the Bucks, a lot of underperforming. The Suns got 3 coaches getting fired because they were, coaching contending teams that none of them made the conference finals. Of course, now getting to the conference finals, we have 2 pretty underwhelming series. It seems like we're going to have to wait for the finals to get another good series because we had some pretty decent ones.
Yeah, it's been a pretty exciting playoffs in the NBA up until the conference finals. You'd think these are the best teams, right, facing each other. Ideally, this should be your best basketball, the most compelling, and it's really been opposite of that.
Yeah, and
especially in that Boston-Miami series.
Yeah, Boston-Miami was just... That one's just been nuts, and Jimmy Butler is winning himself a ton of respect where the respect that hasn't really been given to him since the bubble when he dragged a different, Miami team to the finals and ended up falling short against the Lakers. And I don't know, is this year, is he going to fall short against the Denver Nuggets? I guess, which, that seems to be the thing. It seems to be a Denver-Miami. We're all bracing for it. At least some people are bracing for it. I don't know. I'm hoping to embrace it, because it seems like it's going to be a good series. We got a super hot team in the Miami Heat against a really good Denver team, and I've really enjoyed watching Denver play this playoffs.
Yeah, I've Michael Malone always reminds me of Leon Rice in the Mountain West. He usually has a pretty good regular season, but fades in the postseason when it matters most. But this year seems to be a little bit different. This is a Denver team who's been through a lot. They've been tested a little bit better. They've been I think the NBA's best, most solid team. I know Milwaukee had the number 1 overall seed and with the best overall record, but I felt like Denver was just a really complete, well-balanced, deep team coming into the playoffs. And they've just continued to do that. This is a team that hasn't taken games off, days off. Load management hasn't really been in the DNA of the Denver Nuggets. Yeah, Jamal Murray had games missed because of injury, but he's pretty much been there this year. And so this is a team that's kind of defied the current NBA modus operandi, where you see a lot of guys take a lot of time off just to save their bodies for the playoffs. And teams that really utilize that strategy are by and large out or on the ropes. Yeah. So Denver's a team that's like, look, we're going to play basketball and fly in the face of conventional NBA wisdom and have guys compete and play hard every day. And they're now yielding the fruits of all the hard work that they put in for these last several months getting to this point.
Yeah, they showed in the regular season they were the best team, and they're proving that now, because now people doubt, are you the best team if you have the number 1 seed? The Lakers and the Warriors, I think, were some of the teams with the best, championship odds, at least among, odds makers and whatnot. They weren't giving Denver much of a chance. But
even when Utah Jazz had the top overall seed a few years ago, nobody thought they were going to be a deep playoff team.
Yeah, everyone's not a single person was really picking them to win the title. You have a handful of people there, but they were the guys that were considered to be going against the grain. They're like, yeah, I'm picking Utah because they're the number 1 seed. And everyone's like, what? Why aren't you picking the Lakers or whoever it was that year? It's like being the number 1 seed doesn't seem to matter to anyone anymore. But Denver's proving that. Of course, Miami is, I guess, proving it wrong because they're the 8th seed.
They're the counter, right? They played their way into the tournament, into the playoffs.
Yeah, and the Lakers, they were in the play-in, right?
They were too.
So you have 2 play-in teams in the conference finals. So there's some narratives battling each other. Does the regular season matter? The Nuggets seem to say yes, it does, but the Miami Heat are like, well, we're the 8th seed, but we're going to go all the way anyway. It just matters about getting hot at the right time, which is more along the lines of what happens in single elimination tournaments. Because in the NBA playoffs, in a 7-game series, how do you get hot for 16 straight games? Well, that's assuming you win every single one. So it's you could play 25 games if you go all the way to the finals. Maybe not quite that many, but
close.
You get into the 20s.
Yeah.
You can get hot for 5 games. Can you get hot for 20?
Because the theory is, over a 7-game series, the better team should still advance. But that hasn't been the case for Miami, at least when you look at record. But this is a Miami team that faced some adversity early on in the playoffs. Tyler Hero gets hurt. He's out. They had to rally together and find ways to still win and come together. But that's a franchise that has strong leadership on the court and off the court. And the Jimmy Butler's just kicking things into a whole other gear.
They've also got a lot of depth, too. The Heat do. So it's pretty crazy. 8968, he's chiming in and said, you mean there's NBA finals going on? Haven't noticed. Is it baseball season yet?
If you're asking that, then you don't know.
The answer is yes to both those questions. Well, the NBA finals isn't here yet. but it's pretty close.
It's pretty close.
So it's looking like we're going to set up, and I don't know, there's some people complaining on social media, usually just Lakers fans, being like, the ratings are going to be terrible in the finals, because that's the only thing they have left after their team goes down 3-0, is, I guess, throwing a parting shot at the Nuggets. It's, nobody's going to watch you win a title. If that's your last comeback, I'm sorry, you're kind of pathetic.
Yeah. I mean, is there an appeal of having a Boston-LA series? Sure. Two classic franchises with a lot of titles.
The casual audience.
But that's just to the uninformed bandwagon ignoramus who doesn't know or follow basketball on the regular.
There's a bunch of casuals.
But where we're heading, I'm really excited to see Denver versus Miami finals. Not really a big fan of Denver normally because I think they're kind of rivals of the Utah Jazz, but I'm going to be rooting for Denver over Miami in this series, if that's where it turns out to be.
I'd like to see Jimmy Butler win a title, but I have also kind of fallen in love with this Denver team and I just like watching the world burn. Because people get so triggered by Nikola Jokic whenever anybody says, Nikola Jokic is really good, and they're like, no, he's not. And so I'm go for chaos there.
He is playing like the MVP.
Yeah, he's the best player in basketball right now. Anyway, we need to take another quick break. We got to tally pick 6 and reveal the results coming up next here on the Full Court Press.
It's finally starting to feel like spring, so let Prodigy Brewing spring a delicious experience of flavor and fun into your world. Enjoy Cache Valley's juiciest burgers, tastiest nachos, flavor-filled wood-fired pizzas, and specialty craft brews. And did you know Prodigy Brewing offers an amazing brunch menu every Sunday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.? Whether it's lunch, dinner, or Sunday brunch, let Prodigy Brewing spring you into deliciousness. Book now for upcoming graduation parties. Prodigy Brewing, exceptional food, extraordinary service, and family-friendly on Center Street in downtown Logan.
Forget the weather this summer with York Home Comfort Systems. Now's your chance to get local rebates, financing options, and industry-leading manufactured-back warranties on your new home comfort system. Plus, you can get up to $2,000 in tax credits with IRA 25C federal tax credit. Installing a York Home Comfort System's even more affordable. Maximize your savings and forget the weather this summer. Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning Showroom is west of DI. Online at advancedheating-ac.com.
Ladies, do you have your men's ring yet? We know that he got you the perfect ring, so let's get him one that will show how much you care, such as a one-of-a-kind Damascus steel, his choice of camo, or an exquisite redwood inlay. And if you really want something out of this world, come check out our meteorite rings. For the largest selection of unique men's rings, make it special, make it Jarek's at 930 North Main in Logan.
Jarek's Fine Jewelry. Make it special, make it Jarek's.
Hi, this is Jay Broadbent. If you use a CPAP, need a walker or a wheelchair, or just need some assistance around your home, then this announcement's for you. Alpine Home Medical is opening a new store in Tooele. We're planning on opening our doors this summer. Check us out on social media at AlpineHME or alpinehomemedical.com to stay up to date.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
That's alpinehomemedical.com.
You may have heard that Schreiber Foods call their employees partners. Why? Because our partners own the business. You see, Schreiber Foods is the largest dairy company in the world to still be privately owned. And when you own something, you treat it differently. You help others. You care about your team. You don't answer to anyone outside the company or an investor that has no interest in you or the business. So if you're looking for stable employment, ready to be a part of and own something bigger, visit schreiberfoods.com/careers.
This is The Odd Couple with Chris Broussard and Rob Parker.
You know, Rob, I've been saying this for years. I want to see Lamar Jackson with an elite receiver. We saw what Stephon Diggs did for Josh Allen, what A.J. Brown did for Jalen Hurts. A great receiver can help a quarterback.
With Chris Broussard and Rob Parker.
Weeknights from 6 to 8 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan. It's the Full Court Press, weekday afternoons from 4 to 6 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
listen to this whole song. We don't have time. We got like a minute left. We got to go through pick 6. So here are the results tabulated from our pick 6. Trying to guess things that happened over the weekend. First one, combined points, rebounds, and assists in Friday's game. There were 2 games over the weekend. We did Friday's game. How many points, rebounds, assists with Jimmy Butler? The line was 45.5. You picked the under. I picked the over. Jimmy Butler had 41, so the under was correct. That was close. RSL at Colorado, win, loss, or draw. You picked a loss. I picked a draw. RSL won. They won 3-2, so we both got that one wrong. So it's 1-0 for Eric. Over-under, 35.5 total points for Memphis Showboats against Pittsburgh Maulers. Over-under 35.5. It was 22-0 game, so it was the under there. We both picked the under. I don't have enough time to explain the rest of these. Long and short, Eric, you won.
Oh!
By a lot. You picked 5 out of 6 right.
Wow.
I picked 1 out of 6 right. And you got the tiebreaker, but that'll do it for us here. Have a good one, guys.
Celebrate.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Coming into the Eastern Conference Finals, ESPN's analytics gave Miami a 3% chance to advance to the NBA Final. Well, after 3 games, the Heat are up 3-0 with a chance to close out the Celtics at home on Tuesday night. Boston is talented, Boston is deep, but a lot needs to change if they want to get back into this series. And for starters, Boston needs to rewrite the history books. No team has ever come back from a 3-0 series deficit. And then there's the problem within Boston's core. Jason Tatum has been a no-show in multiple playoff games this season. He scored 7 points in Game 2 against the 76ers. Last night, he had 14 points in a losing effort. Jaylen Brown has also struggled. Brown has combined for just 28 total points in his last 2 games. And if that continues to be a trend for the Celtic star duo, a championship this season is starting to look like a distant possibility. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise.